intersection of making art and making money. Hello and welcome to episode 117 of Explore Your Enthusiasm with me, Tara Swigert. Today we are going to talk about how to get more buyers by focusing on the right people. Now, if you have been reading my blog for any amount of time, or you've read my book, or you've taken any of my classes, you know that identifying your right people is at the heart of having effective marketing. It's at the heart of knowing what you're going to say and how you're going to say it and what tools you're going to use. All of that is shaped by who are you talking to. And who are you talking to? Who is your right person? It's the person who is going to love and want to buy what you sell. Because remember, you're not trying to convince anyone. You're just giving someone who's interested compelling information so they can make the right decision. You want to be honest and in integrity about what your thing does and what it doesn't do, who it's for and who it's not for, so that the right people can make the best decision and so that the people who are choosing to buy are really happy with what they end up getting. But how do you find out who this person is? This is a question I get all the time, because right people is going to be the foundation of how you talk to your people, what exactly you say, and what tools you use. But how do you figure out who this person is? And another question I get a lot is, aren't I limiting myself if I just focus on one set of right people? Shouldn't I be trying to reach everybody? And we're also going to talk about how do you find out where these people are. One of the things about knowing your right people is that then you can show up where they are. It will actually shape what kind of marketing you do. So how do you find out where they are? I'm going to give you some ideas. So we are going to talk about this idea of right people. Sometimes it's scary, like limiting yourself to just one person is scary, and why you need to do it anyhow. We're going to cover how to find your people and then be where they are, and I'm also going to give you 5 questions to ask. Now, this episode has a worksheet, which you'll find at taraswigert.com/podcast117. That's podcast 117, and you can download your workbook there to figure out your right people and where they are and how you can show up where they are. Now, let's be honest. Telling yourself, for me, telling you you're going to limit your marketing, you're going to limit sharing your work to just one set of right people, and the more specific you get and the more niche you get, the better it'll be, can be scary. It could, when you're first starting out and you don't have any people, you might think, oh my goodness, I want everyone. I want to appeal to everyone. I want everyone to buy what I sell. You can't imagine ever wanting anyone to walk away from your product. This is especially true if you sell at a craft show, right? Every person who walks by your booth, you want them to stop and buy. But the simple fact is, some people aren't going to like what you make. There are people who aren't going to get it. There are people who it's not going to be for. Now, this is really obvious if you sell something like baby hats, right? People who don't have babies in their lives don't need to buy your baby hats, right? This is kind of more difficult, though, if you sell something like knitting patterns and you're at a knitting show. You might think, like, every knitter needs to buy my patterns. But a big percentage of them aren't going to be interested, or aren't going to get it, or aren't going to like your aesthetic. And that's okay. In fact, that's perfect, because you can't make something people gush over and people are in love with if you don't make something that's strong enough that it's disliked by some. So this is just how it works. Something that people get super passionate about, other people are going to be totally turned off of. If you have a strong vision or aesthetic or tone or personality, some people are going to immediately know it's for them, and some people are going to know it's immediately not for them. That's a good thing. This makes the marketing that you do more effective, because you're not doing it scattershot. You're being like a laser, right? Like a phaser. You're honing in on just the people who are going to want to buy your work. And wouldn't you rather talk mostly to people who are going to love your work than be trying to convince people who are on the fence, right? So now the secret to not going completely crazy, well, one of the secrets to not going completely crazy when you put your very heart and soul into what you make and some people don't like it, and you put it in front of people, is to focus your attention on the people who do or will love it. Because here's the thing, sharing your art and your creativity and putting it into the world can be really frightening, right? Sharing your work with people is not easy, especially in the beginning when you're not used to doing it. But one way to make it less scary is to know that you only need to talk to people who are going to love it and get it. Now, I don't want you to limit yourself to the people who already know, love it, and get it. What I mean is a whole group or subset of people who are going to love and get it. So you are going to write your descriptions to these people. You are going to take photos for these people. You are going to show up in the shops and the craft shows where these people shop. And you are going to love them with every new product, with every new blog post, and you're going to ignore everybody else. What I mean by that is you're going to create the kind of products and then write the kind of descriptions and take the kind of photos that speak to the people who are going to love your work. Now, when you meet those people who don't want your product or don't really get your product, or even if you're imagining them in your own mind, I want you to remember, they're not your people, they're not for you, they're not your buyers. That's okay. That does not mean your thing sucks. That has no bearing on your thing. I want you to think about something that your spouse or your partner or your best friend bought recently that you thought was ridiculous. Right? There are a million things. My husband's really into comic books, and I like some comic books. Some of the ones he likes, I don't. He's really into board games. Some of them I find boring. I recently bought fabric and yarn. He's not into that. Does that mean the fabric or yarn is unworthy? No, it's just not for him. So I want you to remember that it's okay. That's the first kind of step of acknowledging that there are right people for you, is accepting that there are some people it's not for. Now, if you listen to last week's episode, which was episode 116, then we talked about this right people thing in terms of criticism. Who should you listen to and who should you not? So that's why we're digging a little deeper into those right people I talked about there last week. So if you are dealing with criticism or you're dealing with feedback that's hurting you, make sure you listen to episode 116. Now, you will soon have people who are going to love your product, who are going to be the right buyers for your product. But don't worry about those who aren't. And instead of thinking of this as excluding some people, because people get freaked out. They're like, you're telling me just to focus on my right people, but what about all those other people? I want to reach everyone. I don't want to be too niche. I don't want to be too weird. I want everybody to like me. Instead of thinking about excluding all those other people, I want you to think of it instead as shifting your focus. If your attention and your focus of your marketing is like a spotlight, I want you to shift the spotlight to the people who are going to love it and want it most. Now, other people are welcome to buy it. Other people will see your spotlight and will see that your thing is for, you were talking directly to a mom who's tired and exhausted and doesn't want her diaper bag to fall apart and wants it to be washable. Someone might buy that who's actually her partner or her friend, right? Maybe I'm not a busy, tired mom, but I see that you're talking to the busy, tired mom in your marketing, and I have a busy, tired mom friend, so I buy it anyhow. Or maybe I am a busy, tired person who carries a lot of library books, which is what I am. So I might buy your diaper bag to use for my library bag. So by focusing on one group of people, you're simply making it very clear to them that this product is for them, and making it clear to all their friends that this product is for them, and making it clear what the benefits are to people who care about these benefits, which might reach more people than you're currently envisioning. But you can only do that if you get laser focused. So it's not your job to figure out who is your people and who aren't your people. It is only your job to help someone who loves it figure out if it's for her. So we do this by identifying who your people are, what kind of people are your people, but that doesn't mean you put up walls around it and you say no one else in. It's not like you're saying that. So for example, my classes, I have on most of their, you can go, if you go to tarzswagger.com/CYM, you'll see an example of this. That's Craft Your Marketing. There's a section that says who is it for and who is it not for. That is not to exclude anybody, that's to let people know. It's an e-course that's delivered via email, so if you don't check your email, then this course isn't for you. It's a marketing course that helps you in your creative business figure out who your people are and how to talk to them and what tools you're going to use, and then create a plan. If that's not what you're interested in, then this class isn't for you. If you're not to that stage yet in your business where you're thinking about sharing your work, if, for example, you don't know what your work is, this class isn't going to be helpful for you. So you see, I'm not saying you can't join it. I'm letting people know this is going to be useful or not useful. So if you sell knitting patterns and you have some more advanced techniques, then you would want to say, this is for people who know how to do this technique. right? That lets people know, oh, I don't know how to do that technique, so I'm not going to buy your pattern and get frustrated. So in order to help your person figure out your thing is for her, you want to talk directly to what she cares about and her reasons for buying it. And we go deep into how to do this in my book, Market Yourself, and in the class Craft Your Marketing. You can find them both linked up at tarasweiger.com/CYM. Now, once you know that you're going to focus on your people, like what next? So there are really 4 steps of this. The first is identify the person who will love it and buy it. That's your right person. Then figure out what she cares about and why she buys your product. And here's the thing. In the beginning, you're guessing. You don't know why she buys your product, but you have some ideas. Like, this diaper bag's extra strong and it's washable, so she probably is buying it because she needs it to not break and she wants it to be washable. Right? She wants it to be easy cleanup or easy care. And then as you get more sales, you can ask her directly, and that's the best way. Your business is going to improve so much if your marketing reflects what your people tell you they love about it. In other words, if you focus on the benefits that people actually care about, more people will buy your work because you'll be talking about what they care about. You might think people care about it being the color blue, but what people really care about is that it's washable. You might think that people care about it being colorful, but what they really care about is that it perfectly captures a feeling. I was just thinking about Marcia of Hearts and Hands Quilts. She does these pet quilt pictures, like a pet portrait, but in fabric. This is a quilt, right? Now you might think her use of color is amazing and it's bright and colorful, and you might think that's what draws people to it. But what people love about it is that it's a way to memorialize and remember and snuggle under or display their love for a beloved pet. So it's all about their own connection with their pet is the benefit they care about, not necessarily her quilting skills, even though her quilting skills make the thing that's awesome. So that's what I'm talking about when I say you figure out what your buyer cares about and why she buys. The third step is then you need to explain how awesome your thing is in terms she understands. You need to translate what you say about your work, like I use this machine, I use this thread, I use this fabric, into what your person cares about, which is that it's going to be long lasting, it's going to be washable, it's going to be color fast, it's going to be easy care, it's going to be top of the line, it's going to be something totally unique that nobody else has. Whatever. I don't know what your person will care about. That's why you have the first 2 steps. You identify your person and you figure out what she cares about, and then you communicate with her. You explain how awesome your thing is in terms she understands. And that's not enough. The 4th step is that you need to go where she already is and talk to her there. So you have to do steps 1 through 3 before you do 4. A lot of people want to jump right into, I want to Periscope, I want to Instagram, I want to Pinterest, but none of that will be effective unless you know who you're talking to, what she cares about, and you've translated it into her language. Once you've done that, you can then do your marketing, which marketing is all communication with people who want to buy your thing, but you can actually go out and do the actions related to it. So the thing is, those first 3 is all about you doing your work alone in your studio, your office, your kitchen, you just thinking and working and guessing. And you can spend hours or days or months just thinking and guessing about your right person. I know lots of my people have. You can even put some stuff in your shop with the descriptions and photos you think will speak to her. You definitely should. You should get your home base, which we talk more about in Craft Your Marketing, all set up and ready for her before you go out and do your marketing. And you can write blog posts aimed at her, but that's not enough. It's not enough to stay in your own world and hope that she finds you. You need to go out and find her. But how? How do you do that? That's the big question, right? So the answer is, it's entirely dependent on what you sell and who you sell it to. So one person's like going out and finding, and when I say going out, I don't necessarily mean out of your house. You can do this online too. One person's going out and finding their person is going to look totally different from someone else's. A knitwear designer is going to look different even from a tech editor or a yarn maker or a finished product maker, somebody who makes pillows for your houses or art that hangs on your wall. All of those people are going to need to do different actual tasks to connect to the right people. And I have some ideas for you. Are you ready? And this is all written out in the transcript, which you can get at tarasweiger.com/podcast117. You can get the transcript and the worksheet all come together in one file when you sign up there, tarasweiger.com/podcast117. So here are some ideas. You can write a blog post on her favorite blog. If she's already reading the blog, you could show up there either by writing a post or by, if it's a blog that does like editorials that like features other products, you can submit products to be featured. You can host a giveaway on that blog. You can even buy advertising on that blog. Your product could also be featured in her favorite magazine, her blog, her TV show, a podcast. A lot of your people might watch YouTube videos. Even if you don't, your people might. So what YouTuber could you talk to about featuring your stuff? Your friend might tell her about your work or forward your email. So you don't want to forget to ask people to share either the emails you send out or your tweets or Facebook posts, right? Invite people to share that with their friends, because that's one way you would show up in your right person's life. You can vend at a craft show she attends. It's a way a lot of you find your people, is pick craft shows that your best buyer is going to go to and sell there. You might also comment on her blog or be in the forums where she chats. If your person is a blogger or an Instagram user, you can show up there. You could also, this isn't on the list, I have to add this, you can show up in her Instagram hashtags that she uses and clicks on. What is your right buyer doing on Instagram? What Instagram hashtags is she clicking on? What photos is she liking? If you use those hashtags, you'll show up in front of her. Someone she follows might retweet you or share your post on Facebook. She might see your ad on a blog or on Facebook, on her Facebook page. Now you can do really targeted Facebook ads right directly to her. You also might meet on social media or in a Facebook group or in a Twitter chat by using one of those similar hashtags or by talking to the same person. You might also show up in search. When she searches for a product, you could show up in the search results if you've got your titles and your tags right and it's related to what she's searching for. Along with writing a post for her favorite blog, you might also write an article for her favorite magazine. Even if it doesn't feature your product, if it features you, right? You could write one or you could be interviewed or featured. So you see, not every option that I listed makes sense for every business or buyer. If you do try to try them all, you're going to waste your time. Instead, you want to pick the ones that are related to who your people are and where they go. And if you try to do everything at once, you're going to be distracted, you're going to be ineffective. You want to hone in not only on that right group, but also on one thing to try to reach her. But if you pick the one that makes the most sense for your business and for your right person, and you do it consistently week after week, you're going to be sure to find your buyer and connect with her. Maybe you won't find 10,000 of your buyers at once, but you'll find one, and then you'll find two, and then you'll find out, when I do this, I find 5 new buyers or 5 new email subscribers. So I'm going to do more of this, and I'm going to do more of this. You'll learn so much about your person, where she is and what she wants from you if you keep doing this and you keep trying and you keep showing up. You're also going to learn where she is and where she isn't and what you were wrong about. So I can't tell you exactly what'll work for you, but I know that you can try some things and then keep digging deeper. And when somebody buys, ask them, how did you hear about me? Then do more of however they heard about you. So we can all ask a couple of questions to get started. And these questions are going to be in the worksheet. You can get it at tarasweiger.com/podcast117. The questions are, who is going to love and buy what you make? You got to know this first. And then, when does she buy my thing? When during the day, when during the year, when during her life, what life stage is she in? What influences her decisions? And where does she look for information? Also, what term does she search for when she wants this? Also, what happened in her life right before or right after she bought this? You can ask your people these questions and get really great answers. And if you don't have people yet, you can start to make it up and then test your assumptions by trying things. So by answering these questions, you're going to get an idea of what to try and what to do next. And that's the thing, is it's all about just trying and experimenting and figuring out what's the next thing for you to try. And then once you have your list, it's up to you to actually do it, to try something, keep trying, and do it with consistency. So if you want to know more about this whole process of identifying your person and finding them and then setting up your website to best speak to them and then choosing the tools that will best reach them, we go through all of this in my class, Craft Your Marketing, which you can learn more about at taraswiger.com/CYM. And of course, if you want to answer these questions, you can find the worksheet at taraswiger.com/podcast117. If you have any questions about this, I'd love to hear it. You can leave it in the comments below this YouTube video if you're watching the video on YouTube, or you can tweet me or ask me on Instagram at taraswiger. Also, use the hashtag #ExploreYourEnthusiasm on Instagram. You will find other makers and artists like you. Share with me what you do to reach your right people, or tell me a description of who your right person is. I would love to know. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great, enthusiastic day. Thanks so much for watching. You can get weekly lessons like this in your inbox, along with access to worksheets and checklists and transcripts from all the podcast episodes when you sign up below. You can also subscribe on YouTube, and YouTube will notify you when there's a new video. And you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. If you do, be sure to say hello or leave a comment below the video to let me know you're there. Thank you so much for watching, and have a very enthusiastic day.